Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. I sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. So, before we begin, a very special announcement. I am so excited to announce that, in honor of everybody who has gotten in touch with me to tell me that our 5-part video series, the Oracle and the Intuition and the Oracle, how much they loved it. I have decided to put it out there for free for you guys in time for the winter solstice. We're not going to be waiting for the winter solstice. It will be uploaded this weekend. It's 5 bite-sizable videos, getting you in touch with your intuition and the oracle. Now, even if you do oracle readings already, it's free, and I would love for you to check it out anyway, because it's really about balancing your masculine and feminine energies and really working with your intuition. It carves out enough space for you to work with your intuition and really give your divine feminine sensibilities the space to create and be you. So everything that you learn can be definitely integrated into any kind of abundance practice or any kind of manifestation work when you're working with the laws of the universe. So all of this can be worked in many other ways. So I urge you to check it out. So it'll be this weekend, Friday or Saturday, Intuition and the Oracle, 5 beautiful videos for you to check out for free. Very excited. Now, to our wonderful session today. So I've already had some really interesting things that have happened. We are working with Merlin today. Now, it is said Merlin's actually was a real person. He was a druid, this we know. He's been attributed to being other beings, including Saint Germain, but he was an entity in his own right. Definitely knew about magic and alchemy, and certainly probably worked with whoever was in charge at the time. So he would have worked with the king and the kingdom of the time of Avalon. To the extent we're not exactly sure, but Merlin is definitely a figure that's beyond myth. So I decided today, because we have this theme of getting back to your own magic, why not get back to ancient magic, druid magic, very powerful stuff with alchemy, and work with Merlin today. And 2 incredible things have already happened. First of all, you all know, if you've been here for a while, my cat Lily, one of my cats, loves to hang out a little bit. But my other cat Mildred is, she's not really into the ethereal world. She just likes to, moan a lot and eat. So she was right up in here, and I had to literally give her extra food, in order to get her away from the area. So that's, she was very intrigued. So that's something. And then also, as I was heating up the room, out of nowhere, I went to turn off the heater, and I have a book, most of you know, a lot of you have read it and left some really beautiful reviews, Healing and Witchcraft in a Conformist World. My husband actually did the illustrations, and we have the original illustrations up in the studio here in what I call my witchy room, and they just fell off the wall, both of them, out of nowhere. So we can honestly say that I always feel that the spirit and the essence of who it is that we are going to channel. But this is definitely some interesting energy coming into this. So healing and witchcraft, and it's all about getting back to the ancient ways, of course, and knowing your own power and where it comes from outside of what we call conformity and society. So I thought that was really interesting. So I'm expecting some really beautiful and profound energy here from Merlin. So for those of you who have been with me for a while, you know that these sessions are set up for activation and healing. Also, we have our healing candle here, anything that you no longer require. If you need to cut some cords, anything that you need to release, you can release into the candle, or you can bring in abundance and beauty and healing from the candle. It's set up for both, with the magic oil that I made under the full moon with an eclipse many moons ago. So however it is that you want to use this session is totally up to you on many different levels. As always, we will take just a minute to really breathe in and cleanse all of that energy so we can be really focused on this reading. The more aligned with you are with your own energy, the more aligned you will be with the reading, so you can get more out of it. So as always, if you need to go ahead and pause the video for a while and just come back to you and ground yourself in any way that your own personal way of doing it, then go ahead and do that. The timestamps, as always, will be down below, so you can go straight to your pile. So we have a couple of oracles, and then we have our, I believe it's the green witchcraft, of course. We need to get back to our pagan roots here for Merlin, for our tarot. So for our first pile, we are going with the tiger's eye. Then we have clear quartz for our second pile. And for our third pile, we have our amethyst here. So, and then we will be getting you some extra messages with the Making Magic oracle here, which has some really beautiful sort of spell work involved in there too for extra energy. So let's go ahead and get right into these readings with Merlin. He can be a little temperamental, but he's always there. So he's somebody that he's definitely somebody you can call on should you want to. So let's see for pile one. Again, healing energy any way you want to use the candle. And as a reminder, we are working with our favorite druid, Merlin, here today. So if you chose the grounding energy, the first chakra energy of the healing crystal here of Tiger's Eye, which has a lot of abundance energy around it too, this is your reading. Let's start off with your tarot and then move on to the oracles, and let's see what Merlin is coming up with today for you. Okay, so you have the Page of Athames here. That's a beautiful, I don't know if you can see this properly. The lighting here, I've started doing these readings during the day, so the lighting is a little bit different than normal, but hopefully you can see this. And then the Seven of Chalices, the Seven of Cups reversed. So this is an excellent reading for you, pile one, for again getting back into your own energy and getting back into your own sense of magic. This has been a general theme in the collective, and particularly pertaining to these readings, I would say probably in and out for the last couple of months. But for you, I definitely feel some owl energy for those of you who have sort of animal guides. The owl energy and the night energy, the moonlight energy is coming in for you. For those of you, these are always general readings, so take what resonates. Not every message within every single part of this reading may be for you, but we try to make it as accessible as possible. For those of you who have had a shift in your patterns and have noticed that you're getting a lot of your ideas at night, and there's this sort of energy at night, your energy has been recently reattuned to night energy with the moon. Now, for most of you, that would not be so much of a shock because you're sort of moon children, moon energies anyway, but the way in which you're working with the moon now is definitely next level. So that's really, really beautiful and important to know. Now, if any of you are doing, now we say spell work, but really it's manifestation work. It's just the way in which you work with your own energy, however you choose to call it, or we might say label it. So for the intents and purposes here, we will say spell work because we are working with Merlin today. But if you're doing any kind of abundance work, and if you're doing any kind of cord cutting and shedding, if you're doing any kind of pulling in new energy to you, the moon energy, the night energy would be the best time for you to do this. You're probably feeling this, and for those of you who are feeling that this is resonating already, you can obviously take this one step further and do a lot of your rituals at night. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be completely under the full moon. Depending on where you are in the world, depending where you are in the Western Hemisphere, it might be actually quite cold for you. If you're in Australia, for instance, it'll be summer, so it'll be perfect for you to go out at night. But wherever you are, where the moon, there's always a part of the house, no matter where the moon is situated in the sky during the night, there's always a part of your house where moonlight streams in. Now, this would be the perfect place for you to set up an altar. This would be a perfect place for you. Your message from Merlin is very much about not just reacquainting yourself with your own energy. This is something that you've been doing periodically, at least for the last 8 months, one way or another throughout your entire life. Now, throughout your life, you've been extremely sensitive and sort of sponge-like. So you've taken in a lot of other people's energy. So what you've been doing is you've been expelling everybody else's energy, at least for the last 8 to 10 months. And what you're left with is who you are. Now, this is the perfect time to build up your energy and relinquish the old and pull in your own sense of magic and your own sense of purpose. Now, some of you have these moments of not weakness, you're actually very strong, but this sort of weakness in the body, so because you're upgrading. Now, on the physical level, you're upgrading. So we can help you with that today. I'm just going to move on over here and reach out. Excuse me for a second. I'm going to get my wand here, which would be the perfect thing, of course, to be using, and getting a little giggle here from Merlin too. So, and also the message, he's known for being quite surly in some ways when you work with him, but he's been quite amenable today, I have to say. But it's all about connecting back to ancient energy and where you fit in that too. Now, there's no need for you necessarily to go back to your past lives. The wisdom that you've accrued from your past lives have been fully integrated into your soul. So it's just a matter of how you're going to use it in this lifetime. So I'm going to do the power symbol here for you now, and I'm going to push this or integrate that into your heart chakra. For those of you who have been feeling, I want to say weak muscles, but the weakness in the body is not actually a weakness. As you're upgrading, you're being asked to pour in energy of the old, pour in the magic that you have. Again, working with the luminosity, working with the moon especially. If you're already working with the moon, which many of you are, you're definitely at the stage where you can really up that a notch now and do all of your spell work, your manifestation at night. That's when you're the clearest. That's when your guides come in. That's when your magic is most potent. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly at midnight or anything like that. You have your own way of working with the moon beyond working at night. So that's all going to be working for you. A lot of you have elemental energy coming into this lightness, this sort of fairy energy, this even gnome energy, this working magic, even with oracles or working magic with rune stones, getting back into incorporating that, putting one rune stone on your altar every day, and working with the energy of that rune. We could have used the runes today. I will do a rune reading in the future. We'll work with Merlin again, but this is something that you can do. Now, the power that you have, you've often seen, let's actually put our wand on the moon for now. You've often seen as, let's just say, not everybody in this reading has been completely and totally pleased about the power that they've had, because sometimes you've either used against yourself or you've been singled out for having that power. People have reacted to you in certain ways. So some of you have dumbed the power down. But what's happened recently is that you've been opened wide open, and the power that you have is really strewing out now. Now it's integrating fabulously. But for those of you who are feeling a little overwhelmed, or not overwhelmed in the sense of, I can't handle this, because your body and DNA has been upgrading to be able to allow all of this new, it's not new energy, but all of this powerful energy to integrate at full speed, we can say. But it's getting back to what you do with it, how you work with it in this lifetime. Now, a lot of you already have practices, so you know what to do with it. But this is a new level of power that you can go in a certain way. that's available to you now that wasn't available to you before. So we're here to help you with that. Grounding your energy is something that's really important for you, Pal 1, too, because as you work with the moon energy, of course, you're working with ethereal energy so often, and you will be in the future. A lot of your power comes from your guides. Right now, we all hand over, we can work with whatever guides come to us or we choose to work with. Sometimes you outgrow guides and you move on to other guides, and some guides you can just pull in at a whim. For now, your guides are elemental guides. So you would be great working with the angelic beings, specifically unicorns. But, I'm feeling the energy of different types of elementals, fairies, but actual elementals, like working with the elements. And some of you actually, and I don't want to freak you out, but some of you, when you really fully integrate your power and start utilizing it, you already have, but once you start really honing in on that, you will actually be able to influence certain elements. You are alchemists in previous lives. This should be you should not be surprised by any of this. And some of you actually might be working with different energies, like gypsy magic for some of you, palmistry for some of you, going into tea leaves. Now, some of this could be enriched in your DNA and in your blood. But this is something that's coming up for you, a real in-depth working with crystals. Now, if you've not been working with gemstones, you will be, but most of you in this reading have been, but you will be doing this, and again, you'll be doing this in an upgraded way. For instance, if you've worked with gemstones, before, you'll be working with gemstones to expel negative energy, to sort of do exorcisms and things like that. We don't want to bring in any kind of language that would freak you out, but just to cleanse spaces, to cleanse people. But people who have come to you that really need deep cleansing, you'll be working on that level. So wherever you are with the elements, you'll be going one step further, and it'll be fully integrated into what you do. Now, the power that's accessible to you now is a wonderful feat, and we really, really, really want you to get back into your own sense of power and magic. And please remember to ground yourself as you work in these ethereal realms. It will be much more important for you to absolutely, without a doubt, ground yourself. Now, Merlin is saying that he can help you ground too. There are many ancient ways to ground, especially when you work within sort of earth energy. So when you're working as an alchemist, you're working with base energy, and then you're shifting it into something else. So getting back into that shifting and that beauty of the base element. And for those of you who are finding a little bit difficult to ground right now, like some of your essence seems to be escaping your body, and you're finding it difficult you're feeling a little airy fairy, you're feeling as though you're not physically properly in your body. This is just because you're upgrading. It's not because there's extra healing to be done or anything. As we've said in the last couple of months, if you've been following me for a while, don't go down the rabbit hole of what needs to be cleansed, what needs to be done. If there's any releasing that needs to be done, it'll come up, you'll know what it is, and you'll know what to do at the time. You've done the shadow work, you've done the work. There's no real need to go over any of this stuff anymore. And we're moving into this really sort of very simple aspect of there's nothing that needs to be healed. There's nothing wrong with us. It's about self-acceptance and bringing in. That's not to say that there aren't ailments and there are things that you want to heal within yourself, but there's ways in which to do that. And this is what you're coming into now. So if you are feeling as though you're not fully present in your body, it's about working with that base, not just the base chakra. I just uploaded Unicorn working with Archangel Gabriel too, with the Earth Star chakra, and with your base and root chakra for meditation. That's something that you can do too. But we're talking specifically, we're just trying to give you as much support as we can. Take what you want to, whatever resonates, wherever your intuition tells you to go next, please listen. But in an alchemist sense, really working with the base chakra or base energy, this is something to come back into. If you're feeling spacey, this is a perfect time for you to come into the real basics of the alchemy or the alchemists and working with your energy in a brand new way. And for those of you who have been working within alchemy, this is still a brand new way for you to work with it, to work with this power at the base level. It's all at the base level to figure out what it is that you want to achieve, and then bringing out the desire of it and pulling in the energy of where it is you want to be, and moving into that energy. It's all the alchemical process of all of that. Now, this is all coming in for you, and you're integrating all of this and melding all of this knowledge that you have into your own knowledge of how your own personal magic and power works. So this is a very exciting time for you. It's a very powerful time for you, provided, of course, that you stay grounded. Now, it's very easy feat for you to do once you're aware that you're feeling this way. That spacey feeling can be alleviated when you get to that base level and ground yourself into that earth energy. Let's see what we have for your oracles here. Okay, so we have disruption is the first one, and the number 39. Now we have Swan, of course, transformation, trusting your psychic gifts. Love this. Activation and wind. Now I have another story for this power one, so this is a very, very powerful reading. So when I was choosing these oracle cards, I wanted the oracle cards to remain upright. I didn't want them to be reversed. Whereas as tarot, I always read them as they come out. If they're reversed, that has something to do with it, and I bear that in mind. So I was looking at the back of this to see, because this is an indication of what's reversed and what isn't. So I chose this for you, pile one, wind activation, right? But I wanted to make sure that it was upright, and it was upright. And then I put it back in the pack, because I already chose it. And when I read for you, I want everything to be a surprise. I was like, I already know what that card is. The essence of what the message that I'm supposed to tell you will always come out anyway. So I don't need to worry about it. So I put this right back in, and I shuffled this properly, and then I picked a brand new card for you, right, without knowing, and you still got the wind and activation. So you've definitely been activated into this new level of extreme beautiful power. You can handle this, power one. This is a beautiful time for you. This is, it's preceding a time that you've gone through where you've worked through a lot of the stuff. So it's really important for you, if some of this stuff comes up now, and we call it a little bit of ooze, not to get into the fear mindset, because in the past you've not always trusted yourself, or you've not always trusted the universe. You're hypersensitive to everything. So you've designed a way to be in the world, pile one, where you can protect yourself. You know how things work. And some of that meant that you had to dumb down your power. Now, being activated fully in this lifetime right now means that everything's been activated, including your DNA. It also means that you've done the work, that your body can handle all of this power that you have now. For you, there's a divine timing aspect to this. We've all been on a huge roller coaster here in 2020, but there's been a huge amount of upgrading and a lot of activation. We've done 20 years work in probably 10 months, right? And you have felt this in your soul, pile one. You have felt this. But as you've been feeling this, you've been feeling the openness and the joy and the beauty, but you've been feeling that vulnerability, that openness, that gorgeousness that comes along with it. Now, sometimes in the past, you may have seen that vulnerability, that real intense sensitivity when you let it in and it actually shows up physically. You may have seen that as something that's detrimental. You may have seen that and lumped it in with the sort of the negative. But this is something that you're reworking and you're rethinking. It's also something that it's deep-seated and it's up for healing now. It's up for re-election. It wants to be included. It wants to rule. This understanding that vulnerability can be in the body and it can be expressed through speech and wisdom, and still actually require a lot of strength to be able to do it, and present yourself and make you stronger in your body. It seems like a paradox, really, but that's expansively what you're working on right now. Dealing with the vulnerability, letting it all in here with the Seven of Chalices, the Seven of Cups, letting in all of your power and really seeing where that power lies, how it affects your body, what you're doing. And you're doing this for the first time in many ways. Because again, you've dumbed yourself down, or you've known that you've had it, but you've not really gone there, or you've made excuses for your power in certain ways, or you've learned how to hide it. And in some aspects, for you, again, general reading, in some aspects you've hidden some of your power so well that you forgot you had it, or you knew it was latent, but you didn't know how to use it. So it's all come up now. So the transformation here, now it's really important that you trust yourself. It's really important that you trust your guides at this time. Whereas before you had the system where you were able to rely on yourself, you were hyper independent. Yeah, I mean, some of that was kind of lonely. Some of that, in order for you to do that, sort of put you in a disconnecting mode. But that's something that you got used to too. And there's never any judgment here on Unicorn Light Tarot, but particularly for you, sometimes when you disconnected because of the way that you were and how open you were, that may not have been such a bad thing for you necessarily. But now you're back into the connecting mode. This is about activating into your soul and really understanding how you connect to your own power. And these old ways of doing this all yourself is not going to work for you anymore, and you know this. And when you try to do this for yourself and you sort of shut out the ethereal energy that's trying to help you, you're going to feel the disruption. And it's not going to feel too good. Now, nobody wants you to feel like that. And it's not like, it's almost like a sort of a shock. You know, you go to a voltage, you shouldn't really be doing it, but you want to see what it feels like. So this disruption is really easy at this time to get through. It just requires a huge amount of trust. Now, you need to sort of lay down your weapons here. That's what I'm being told. You've been so used to being projected upon. You've been so used to being treated such a way. And we absolutely love you. And we're sorry that that has happened. But you've been in the defensive mode for a really long time. Now, when you were in the defensive mode, you needed to be in that mode to stick up for yourself, to have that voice, to do all of that. But we're asking you now to put down your weapons. You no longer need to do that. You no longer need in any way, shape, or form to perform for other people. That's another thing that people did too, specifically with your power. It's almost like they wanted you to perform it for a while. It's like, it's a very strange kind of existence that you had with certain people. They sort of wanted you around for what you could do versus who you were. So you put these boundaries in place. They were actually borders and they were walls, but for you they were boundaries, and we're going to call them boundaries, and you needed them. Now we're asking you to lay down those weapons, take down those boundaries, take down those walls, and really work at the level of intuition here. Work with your guides in a way that you've never done that, in this real surrendering mode that you've never done. It's going to make this transition, this activation, so much easier, so much more powerful, and so much more insightful. It's not that you were prone to doing things the hard way. Power One, you have that to you because you have that essence of adventure. You absolutely want to experience everything. And this, in the past, you were sort of fearless, and you would go in and you would go into situations that most people, what the hell? You've lived through everything, and that's part of your charm and your beauty. You can see things from almost everybody else's point of view, which has been confusing for you because you put yourself through those situations. You've garnered enough beauty and wisdom from this lifetime alone, where you no longer need to put yourself into those situations in order to quote unquote, extract the information, right? Extract the wisdom. You have enough now. But what we're saying is that this level of intuition. So there's one thing, we always try to give you some really practical information. One thing that you can do when you wake up, you can choose to follow your intuition all day, no matter what it tells you. Now, you know the difference within your intuition. Your intuition will always feel right. You'll feel it in your third eye and your heart chakra. It will feel right, even if you're like, that's weird, what the hell? And you'll give yourself a little smirk. It will still feel right. Now, if something comes up, and you're like, okay, this feels right, and it sits with you for a little while, and there's just a little bit of a feeling that doesn't sit quite well, you know that's your mind talking. I always say to people when they're really, really, really confused or they're really, really overwhelmed, sit with their mind. What does your mind tell you about this particular situation? Now, sit with that for a second and then release it, and then what does your heart tell you about that situation? 9 times out of 10, it's completely different. If you're in a fearful state, that's one thing you can do. Your mind will always go to the fearful state because it's trying to control it. It's also trying to set you up so it can protect you from future things that will not happen. But then your heart will give you this expressive, expansive view of the moment, what it actually means, what the situation actually means to you, how you can utilize it, what it actually is versus what it's trying to show you versus what it actually is. So 2 different things. That's one thing that you can do. Anyways, one thing everybody can do. But what we want you to do specifically is to wake up and sit with your intuition and do everything from your intuition that one day. Sit with your intuition as the ideas come up that you're able to do. Now, obviously, if your intuition says move to Australia and you live in Afghanistan, that's not possible right now, sit with it. But your intuition will guide you in these baby steps forward. And they will guide you exactly where they need to be. And again, check in with the heart chakra and the third eye chakra. It will never set you wrong. Now, if you can do this for a 24-hour period, you will be in a greater mindset for letting in and trusting the ethereal world on the next level. Now, the more you trust in the ethereal world, the more you trade in control for alignment, the more your power comes in and moves you into this next level. That's really, really exciting. Real alchemist energy coming up here. Again, working with the moon. Let's get some, I'm going to show you this too. This Making Magic. I really love these oracles here, or they're not really oracles. They're very powerful, but they have alchemist symbols here. This one that's protection, strong protective magic for the family and the home. Absolutely. These are sigils. You're welcome to use the sigil if you want to, but that's extra information there. And again, we have breaking bad habits, self-acceptance, excellent mental health, and letting go of vices. So again, with the disruptive energy and fairy magic, what did we say? These all just literally just turned over. So they were for you. Fairy magic, respectfully working with the fairies and elementals to achieve your goals. So these are everything that we've already said. You're working with elemental energy. The more you ground yourself and work with that base of that alchemy energy, the more you will be able to work with that magic. Also trusting, working with your intuition every day, taking down those borders and those walls, and really trading in control for alignment. Now, there's energies where you do that, but doing that permanently, where you surrender at will, permanently. This is a new way for you, not coming in and out of it, permanently. Protection. This is absolutely your guides telling you that you are protected. You are absolutely protected. The way in which you worked with your energy before, again, to reiterate, will not work for you right now, and that's okay. It's old. You are ready to move into this progressive way of working with your energy that will allow for true power to come out. You are completely and totally protected. Your house where you perform the magic and manifestation is protected. Your family is protected. Your pets are protected. You are protected. You're ready for this. And again, just a reminder to break that old habits. The self-acceptance comes in, really coming in with your charms and your gifts and your power, and integrating that fully into your activated DNA, and letting go of old ways of achieving success which will no longer work for you. Again, don't go down into the rabbit hole now of thinking that there's more stuff for you to do. We're going to do the power symbol one more time, and we're going to send some extra protection energy for you here. and breathe into that now. Remember, your heart and your third eye chakra, no chakra is going to let you down. But for you, really, some extra energy is working within that heart chakra. Man, that heart chakra is opening up for you, Pile 1. Allow it to open up. Work with that vulnerability. It's your absolute strength. It's your superhero in this lifetime. So much power coming to you. So much power coming to you. So I sincerely hope that this resonated with you, Pile 1. If it did, feel free to give me a thumbs up and do let me know in the comments below. Absolutely love hearing from you. And of course, subscribe and hit that bell icon. We'd love to have you here at Unicorn Light Tarot. And do not forget, Intuition and the Oracle 5-part video course for you coming this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. Look up for it, completely free. Get your alchemist butt in there. It's definitely extra support and love for you. Again, if your intuition feels like you need to go in that direction, feel free to check it out. And of course, we have the Unicorn School of Light down below. Other ways to work within, beautiful wisdom and support for you. So take care. Sending so much love and light for you. So excited for it. You're working within this power. Do remember, Pile 1, that the world needs you in all of your glory. This is, this is not the time to hide. Not that you're in that realm. Not that you could hide even if you really wanted to. But this is the time to really rise like that phoenix and be out there and do you on your own terms. Absolutely beautiful energy, Pile 1. Stay safe and sane. And until we meet again, bye-bye. All right, my beauties, if you chose Pile 2, do not forget we have our beautiful healing candle. Use it as as you want to. We have already had some incredible coincidences in Pile 1. So we know the energy is strong here. The force is strong with our friend here, our teacher and guide, Merlin. I also bought in healing wand because hello Merlin, and also because it came up in Pile 1, so we'll be doing some actual Reiki symbols and sending those to you too. So let's see what we have. If you chose the clear quartz coming in, we have your beautiful tarot cards here, and I have to ground myself. The energy is really intense, which is very cool. Okay, so we have the 10 of Pentacles here, reversed, and then we have the Knight of Chalices here. So the first thing that we're getting for you here, Pile 2, is there is a journey, and I suspect because we are honing in always on collective energy per se, and then we break it down individually to make it more personable to each one in each pile. So there's always overlying factors, I feel like, in energy. So you do have this in common with Pile 1 here, but you have this beautiful journey that's coming in. And you're being asked to see the journey for what it is. You're being asked specifically. The first message that I'm getting for you is, and when people say this, sometimes it kind of makes me angry a little bit. It makes me a little woo-woo-ish. It makes me feel like, it's like woo-woo stuff. Everything that you've been through has taught you a lesson in this, that, and the other. And while I do understand that, I do find that a little woo-woo because, everybody's entitled to their own anger. Everybody's entitled to saying that this is not okay. Sometimes it sort of glosses over what's been going on. And I find that for the person who is constantly, to pardon my French, is always being shat on, it's not fair. So I tend to stay away from that sort of dichotomy. And also it's everywhere. So everybody knows it at this point. But little did we know it's going to come up for you. But there's, you're being asked specifically to go through and see the threads of everything that you've gone through. There are really profound messages waiting for you on your journey here, Pile 2. The one message that we can help you uncover is that some of you have given away your power in order to be seen. And the one thing that I'm hearing here is that you're really understanding, and you do understand this in a very sort of very specific way, But integrating that knowledge fully into your system and then living by that knowledge is where you're at the stage now in doing that. But your power will come from absolute, complete self acceptance, right? And owning your own autonomy without question. Without question. So it's almost like some of you have been waiting. Is it safe to come out yet? Is it safe to come out yet? You know, you'll show your true self in certain light, in certain ways, with certain people when you know it's safe. But then other people, you either have the chameleon aspect or you shut down certain aspects of your personality. Or you don't speak your truth when you know that it could be out there because, you know, some of you can say, well, I'm going to take the higher road and this, that, and the other. Now, you know, you can take the higher road, but you've been here to be human too. If people need to be put in their place and say, I don't need this, you get to say that. You know, some of you have this idealistic version of being this sort of guru. And if you fall short of that, then you're very hard on yourself. Well, first of all, no disrespect to any guru out there, but we're coming into this age of enlightenment where gurus are kind of over, right? It's not that they don't have a lot of wisdom and they're not beautiful. They're wonderful. But even a lot of like the gurus I've been looking into, you know, some of their stuff is great, but not all of it I agree with. It worked for sort of the old world, but we've transcended and we've ascended in certain ways. And we needed that energy of the guru at the time because they really had done their work and they had achieved this enlightenment, right? And people hadn't ascended as far as they have now. So we needed someone to look up at. And we've seen all of people coming out of the woodwork or doing all sorts of things in the last 10 months where people still want that energy, where they want somebody to tell them something and they want to believe it all. And not all of it is, some of it's sort of, it's not fabricated, but some of it's been garnered through different filters, and it might not be the best for everyone to believe, if that makes any sense. The whole point is that the guru age, where there's one person letting us know where everything is, and that's the right way to do it, is over. Okay, so, you know, it's not that you necessarily wanted to be a guru necessarily, but whatever you want to do, you want to do it correctly. You have the most beautiful heart, pal, too. You have the most sensitive and gorgeous heart, and in your heart of mind, you absolutely want the world to be okay, like to the point where it hurts if it isn't. You know, so your wanting to have the standards of a guru has nothing to do with ego in any way, shape, or form. You just want, or at the level, I want to be at that level. It's nothing to do with the level to attain that level. It's more about doing things correctly in the spiritual way. But you put yourself into this situation where if something seemingly falls short and it's not perfect, then you know, you're hard on yourself and you're not 100% where you need to be. It's almost like you need all the pieces of the puzzle together, completely grounded in who you are before you go out there and go, hey world, this is me. Well, you're being told that that doesn't happen. You're being told that this is the time for you to go out there and do whatever you need to do. Now, the best advice that we can give you is listen to gurus, listen to everybody, take a little bit of everybody and make it work for you. Make it work for you. Everybody has something brilliant to say. Every spiritual advisor has kind of a take on something that you can take and integrate, and it's absolutely brilliant. Does one person right now that's actually living in the world, like physically living on our planet right now, have all of the answers right now? No. And anyone who's at that level of being a guru will always say, go out. Do it for yourself. Don't take it as what I'm saying. That's the person that you really want to listen to. You know, there's not one way of doing it. Please see it for yourself. But you're being asked to really go through your journey here in this lifetime. You don't have to go deep into past lifetimes or anything like that, but go back into your lifetime here and really connect the dots of what you were supposed to learn. This is the time to do it and integrate it fully into your soul. You're here for pure self-acceptance, to be worthy of your own truth, to be out there in the world and go, hey world, this is me, to honor your vulnerability, to not wait until you think you're perfect, to be out there now and to learn with the world and really come into a new connective identity that you have. You have an incredible amount of wisdom. And the way in which you garner or gather wisdom is really beautiful too, because you don't really take things, you'll go into certain, you're definitely the sort of person who will listen to this and do that and do that. You don't think there's one path. And for some of you, these are always general readings. And some of you, when somebody tells you there's only one way to do it, you'll be like, red flag, there's one way. And if we don't get it this way, red flag. So you're not easily duped. Although there is a side of you that's incredibly naive, and it's really beautiful. That's your inner child. Your inner child has really been working with you so much, and it's integrating daily on a deeper level. But that inner child, that naivety, that real sense of innocence is absolutely beautiful. And that's another reason why you may have protected yourself in certain ways. You were somewhat easy to take advantage of in one way or another. And, that's been detrimental in certain ways to you. And we're extremely sorry for that. But again, we don't want to be insensitive and certainly don't want to be woo-woo. We do not do woo-woo on this channel in any way, shape, or form, nor do we ever judge, because that's not going to get us anywhere. Everybody and everything, every situation, everybody has something to say, and it's all worthy. There's always some truth in everything that everybody says. Even if it comes from a place of darkness, there's something there. There's something we can take from that, and they're absolutely entitled to their opinion. Sometimes it is opinion and it's not truth, but that's still okay. And that's what you're deciphering too. You're deciphering opinion from truth. You're deciphering your truth and putting it together. But this is about self-acceptance and autonomy on your own terms and not waiting for everything to be complete. You are a work in progress, but the work that you've done has been so progressive. See what I did there? Has been so progressive that you're absolutely ready for this new level of magic, this new level of integration. And would you stop being so hard on yourself, pile two, even when you get to a point where you're celebrating and you're doing really well and you've honed in on something, you've figured it out, it's integrated into your body, you feel it, you'll give yourself, oh, that's great for an hour, and then you've gone back on, all right, now what do I need to work on? And there's nothing wrong with that. You always want to be working on it. You've got a busy mind, you've got an active personality, you always want to be doing better. You're the type of person that's extremely responsible for their own energy, which is brilliant. It's not that you're not going to F up sometimes, but when you do, you want to go back and break it down and figure out what you need to do. If it's the right time to apologize, or you can just apologize, put the energy out there if the time is gone. But you want to make sure that you don't make that mistake again. You really, really do. Partly because you don't like wasting time. So you don't want to reiterate, go over things over and over again, trying to get through it and learning the same lessons. So part of it is that, you're very efficient, but part of it is that you don't want to hurt anyone. But, some of you, I keep getting this, you don't want to hurt anyone, so you're afraid to step in a way, you're afraid to offend, and you want everybody to have their own opinion. So that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's truth either. You actually have truth. You can see beyond polarity. You actually have truth to it. And you're the sort of person that if you come up with something and somebody comes up with something that, can be integrated into your version of the truth, you'll be like, let me think about that. I like what you're saying there. Even if it's coming at you in a completely different way where you wouldn't have accepted it, or not have accepted it, but you wouldn't have accepted it from somebody who's not sharing your own view or something like, you'll still listen to it. And if it makes sense, you'll integrate it. You'll give space to anybody. But that is a beautiful thing. But grounding into your own power honoring your sensitivity, honoring your own autonomy, your own truth first, grounding your own truth into who you are. And then from there, you have a grounded, really firm platform to bring in other people's energy. And that's where we're asking you to do that, to get into that and to see your own magic and have this new level of connectivity. Because you're taking on so many others and you're accepting so many other people's points of view, which is absolutely wonderful to be open to it. But then it's confusing you, and because you don't have that real proper foundation of what you know you believe and standing behind it and accepting all aspects of yourself, but still be willing to shift it and change it as we move, which you are, then you're getting overwhelmed by everybody else's opinions and everybody else's point of view, and then you're not treading where you should be treading, and then the world is not getting your version of balance and wisdom that we truly need at this point. We truly need at this point. You know, a lot of people are really afraid of saying things because they feel like they're going to get blasted. But really, at the end of the day, that's not what's going on with you. And we're coming out of that now. You know, we're coming out of this, you know, when people say something, everybody's coming at them. I know a lot of people felt like that, especially in the spiritual community recently. But I feel as though that's all sort of dissipating. That's all kind of moving into something different. And I feel as though the people that, you know, still remained in their truth regardless. And they rose above it, and they worked with it. Everything was okay. Everything was okay. There's no need to fear any kind of repercussions. That doesn't mean to say that everybody's always going to agree with you. You know this. And if they have something willing, you know, reasonable to say, and they're not agreeing with you, you'll take that in and integrate it. And if it isn't something that's reasonable, you won't integrate it. You'll respect them for what they are, give them space, and you'll bugger off and do your own thing. So you'll be absolutely fine either way. But you know, where angels fear to tread, you're an angel. Don't fear to tread anywhere. Just get out there and do it. And don't worry about anybody else. You've got this. But it's really important that you get that firm foundation. The firm foundation will come from you really accepting every aspect of everything that you've ever been through and who you are and your truth. Figure it. You write down a list of what you believe in, your truth, who it is, how it is. Get it down there. You can burn it in a ritual. You can burn it into your soul. Again, it doesn't mean that it will shift. It won't shift and change. It will. And that's the best part of you. We're going to send you some energy here. We're going to send it to your first chakra. The earth chakra and the first chakra meditations might be good for you. Always please listen to your intuitions. If you're feeling as though that's what you need, that's great. If not, skip over it. But if it's something that you feel like it will help you in some kind of foundation to help you, again, go through every situation that you've been through. There were lessons that you accumulated. One of your main lessons is that you've given too much space to people to be themselves, which is fine to give people space to be themselves, but you've given them too much space whereby you've accepted their way as the only way. And you, or that's not exactly true. What you've done is that your opinion on who you are has become secondary to everybody else. So what we want is that to put yourself first, your energy first, ground into your power. You come first, and then all of the energy is in and around you. It's going to be a much more interesting existence for you. Let's see what we have for you here. Butterfly, beauty. Yes, you want everything to be gorgeous and beautiful. And this is the way you can achieve that. The raven, magic, coincidence, you know, synchronicities, all of that coming into effect now, activating. And we have the breach of the whale here. So it's absolutely you moving in to this new beautiful, I'm getting prompted here to, give me 1 second. I'm getting prompted here to actually get I want to read the breach to you. Here, whale. I'm getting prompted to do that. So I'm going on my intuition with this reading. Whale breach. This powerful creature of the ocean takes a few great sweeps with its fins and propels himself briefly out of the water where he spends the majority of his life. He's taking a break from the ordinary earth element to which he lives to exist for even a few moments in the realm of blue skies. and sun, having broken through the skin of the ocean in a magnificent display of fullness and strength. Okay. In this image, the humpback whale that has burst out of the ocean expresses an almost palpable feeling of release and joy. Often when we manage to change our environment to break through illusionary blockages, we experience an intense feeling of relief and can go in any and let go of any previously held fears and assumptions of what would happen once we did overcome that barrier. So this is really what we're saying. Do that breach, come right out of the illusion of how you were living before, and come into your own energy and having that ground source of who you are. And then you can come into this world. Hey world, this is me, treading, purposely treading. This is my wisdom. This is who I am. You believe this? That's wonderful. I love this about what you just said. Not really going to take that much to heart, but I love this. Let me sit with that. Thank you for bringing that to me. See the difference, but you're out there first. You're making these connections. You're being accepted for exactly who you are. You're being seen for exactly who you are. Whether people accept you or not, that's really up to them. And that's none of your business. You don't need to worry about whether people accept you or not. You're always going to have your crew around you. You're always going to have the right people accept you. And that's the main thing. Your mission here is never for everybody to accept you. They even crucified Jesus, right? I mean, he's like, you can't get any better than Jesus. The man is Christ consciousness, and they murdered him. It's just the way it is. We're not likening you to Jesus in any way, or your whatever it is that you're going to do in this lifetime. But this idea of wanting to be accepted by everybody is just ridiculous. It's never going to happen. You let it go, then you stand in your own priority, which is yourself. And this is how you're going to find the beauty, because a lot of you have been feeling this aspect here of, wanting everybody to be okay, and you're feeling as though they're not. That energy is shifting now. But the beauty that you will see in the world, the gorgeousness that you will see in the world, the receptivity and the connectedness that, on a 3D level we're not really seeing, but it is there. You will be able to connect with that once you put your power firmly into your ground, your foundation. Accept yourself for exactly what it is. And also accept where you put your energy, who you've given your energy to, and who you've given your power over to in the past. Really go into that. There's some real specific connective messages for you there to really integrate into your soul. And you're not at the point where you'll ever do that again. And there's a little bit of pain and a little bit of wounding in that before, because that naive, innocent, beautiful part that just wanted to be seen, the people that you were around did their very best. They really did. Some of it was manipulative and some of it wasn't, depending on the person. But this beauty that you're seeking to have integrated into your life full time can be there once you integrate into your own foundation of beauty yourself. Magic, coincidence, all these synchronatic essences coming into you. I saw something the other day which I absolutely loved, and I'm going to really butcher it now, so I really apologize for any of you who've seen it. It's like, don't chase the butterfly, build the world and let the butterfly come to you. So if I bastardized it in any way, I truly apologized it. But I absolutely love this. It's not that you've chased, but you're so eager to learn. You're so eager to put things together. Inquisitive and gorgeous, and that beauty of you is what keeps you. That's one of the most attractive things about you. If you could integrate that and reflect that back into your soul, so you can accept every part of yourself, and instead of chasing people and situations, create this magical world of beauty with you at your own center. And we're not talking about the ego now. And this because you've worked beyond the ego. For most of you, again, general reading, for most of you, you could have done with a little bit of ego. You've always put your heels in and dug in your ego when it's, when you're hurting yourself. But sometimes it would have been great if you used your ego, when people were treating you certain ways. That could have been great for you. So you never need to worry about the ego. But putting yourself first in all aspects, in all areas, even if it feels a little bit weird at first, we're urging you to do that and build that true foundation. Let's go ahead and going to send that power symbol into your first and second chakra too. which is healing beautifully, by the way, your own sense of protection and feeling safe in the world. We're going to get you some making magic too, here to finish off this gorgeous reading. But again, don't go down the rabbit hole of things that you need to, go through and live through. And you've done all the healing. You're connecting the dots. That's all. You're providing the wisdom for yourself, and then you can leave it fully. Cut those cords. Successful career, a happy working environment, pay raises and promotions. Everything is available for you once this solidified foundation of beauty comes in for you, which you're absolutely ready to do. It's so simple. This can be done in a meditation, 30 minutes. I might even do a meditation in the future for this. Awen, 3 rays of light, balancing male and female energies, peace and harmony. Absolutely what you've been doing too. A lot of that naivety and that lot of the chasing and the wanting to move forward. You definitely are. Action coming into the masculine and feminine. Again, the earth chakra, but particularly the base chakra, excuse me, the root chakra deals with celebrating and putting back together, balancing the masculine and feminine side to each of us. So again, if you feel called to go back and do, it's completely uploaded, completely free. All of that just available to you if you feel like you want to. This is something you've been working on though, balancing the masculine and feminine. You've often had the feminine riding out and then the masculine really taking over. So the balancing for you has been really integral. When to step up, when to move back, but also having that level, that sophisticated level of, the autonomy always there, never shifting, never changing. I mean, the power that it has. It's always shifting and changing, but the actual power is always there. That's why sometimes, you can wake up and you feel extremely powerful. And there's other days you wake up, you feel extremely sort of not in your body, or out of sorts, or just not grounded, and you're more apt to being overwhelmed. It's just taking in, as you work with that foundation, as you connect all the dots, really honing in and clicking into that masculine and feminine energies in that equal way, providing that equilibrium for you, which is very flexible and moves with you throughout this lifetime. Also, new ways of healing, physical healing in the body, that presented itself through old patterns, are now available to come up to heal at this point. So expect that also. And this came out to water. Work with the element of water for healing, purification, and refinement. That's also coming into the magical energy and the receptivity of you. You have such a receptive side to you. That's why you can be somewhat easily influenced, but at the same time, paradoxically, you don't take on anybody else's truth as your own. You have this sort of weird dichotomy to you. It's not weird, it's kind of beautiful, but you're not a typical person in how you go about your business in the world, and that's the gorgeousness of you. But the receptive inner child, this real beautiful innocent state that you have to you, work with the element of water. You can really bring that out and hone in once you get your foundation set and you are all set with your autonomy on your own terms and nobody else's. We're going to cut some cords for you now. We're going to bring in Archangel Michael too. It will be much easier for you to connect the dots from your past. Again, not past life, but what's happened in this life, if you actually cut the cords with what's happened first of all. So we're going to send the power symbol to you now. So all of that information should be for connecting the dots, and then integrating that wisdom should be a lot easier for you. So work with the element of water there to really expand your receptivity. You are, and you will be perfectly balanced all the time. You are balanced, bringing in that balance. So it's a stable balance every single day. But you have a lot of water either in your chart or working with a lot of water. Some of you have a lot of fire too. So, sometimes that fire in the past is, put out that water, but sometimes the fire really, makes that water into a storm there. So you can work with the receptivity of the water in this really passionate way, using these two elements, and really put a notch up there, really get up there with your power of receptivity. Your magic comes from your intuition. It's infallible. It's absolutely wonderful. Once you click into it and listen to it and work with it, there's nothing that you can't do. So go be you. Go set that foundation of wisdom, of beauty that's just yours and yours alone, and watch as your power just takes off in ways that you could never have imagined. Remember, let the butterfly come to you. Build the world. All right, pal 2, I sincerely hope that resonated. If it did, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear from you if it resonated. And of course, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be part of the family and come in and get these healings, activations, readings, support, whatever you want to call them, whenever they come up. And do not forget, we have Intuition and the Oracle. It's a free course that I'm offering for free in honor of the winter solstice that's coming up, but I'm going to do it before the winter solstice. It will be available this weekend. 5 courses. Even if you do read Oracle cards, it's all about working with your intuition, balancing masculine energy, really working with the divine feminine. And a lot of this you can apply to laws of attraction, or, manifestation, whatever you want to do. So again, if your intuition lets you know that that's the way to go, feel free to check it out. But there's other, we have the Unicorn School of Light. There's other ways to stay within this energy, get the support and healing that you need. All right, pal 2, go be you in all of your glory. And until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Hey, bye-bye. You pal 3ers. Last but not least, of course, we are working with Merlin. We've gotten some excellent information. I brought out the wand for pal 1 and 2 and now 3. So we're going to be doing some Reiki symbols and some healing too, should we need it. And do not forget, we always have the healing candle going on. So if you picked the amethyst, pal 3, this is your messages channeled straight from our wonderful Merlin. And we have the we have the tarot first, so let's work with that. We have the 5 of chalices here, the 5 of cups, and then we have the sun. Absolutely wonderful. If you can see this, I really love the illustrations on this. So as I've said for pal 1 and 2, we always work with collective energy one way or another. So whatever comes up, I'm never too surprised that there's this underlying sort of energy. Occasionally we have a lone wolf, and one of the piles will be completely different to everyone else, but they usually have an overarching theme. Either way, you get what I mean. And this is definitely about your power. This has been about power, getting back to your own power, but in very, very specific ways. So there's definitely, every pile has something different to say. For you, you have something in power. You have something in power. You have something very much in common with pile 2 insofar as about putting your power and your knowledge out into the world. And it's about putting it out into the world in the way that you see fit. So the one thing that I'm getting here is that baby steps create earthquakes. That's what I just got that. I swear to you, I just got that. So for you, every small little thing that you do actually causes a huge ripple. Now, sometimes you're not aware of this because, as you know, if you see it as a stage, some things happen off stage. But because you've honed in on your power, because you are very powerful, and because you've identified with that power, you've had people your entire life, one way or another, say, oh, you're very powerful, this, that, and the other. And sometimes they've treated you well, and sometimes they've treated you untowards. But regardless of that, people have been aware of your power. You've been aware of your power. But this is about how you utilize your power. Again, with pile 1 and 2. Same thing. This is a little bit different for you, but how you utilize your power is wonderful. Your specific message is, for those of you who are feeling a little despondent, for those of you who are feeling like nothing that you do is big enough, nothing that you do is great enough, nothing that you do ever garners the results that you think that it should do, it takes off the way it should. This is the message for you, pile 3. Your power is so wonderful and so honed in on that even the smallest thing that you do sends out ripple effects, and you have to trust in that. Now, the big payoff, if we want to call it that, if we're getting down to the brass knuckles of it, don't even know where that came from, but if we're getting down to the brass knuckles of it, the big payoff, as it were, is coming, will come, will look very different to what you thought it would be. But it will come because of all the little ripples and effects that you've put out there. Now, for those of you who are feeling that what you do is not enough, and for those of you who have taken that one step further, where you're like, nothing I do is ever really enough. So you're taking the attitude of pulling back just a little bit. Or the other thing is that you're waiting to get like big moves in order before you put yourself out there. So what you're being told to do is not to do that. In the world, put every little small thing that you do it, and know that the ripple effect is moving toward your big hurrah, as it were. So don't wait and hide all of that behind closed doors so you can have that big payoff at the end. You're being told to shine greatly now. And also we're asking you, and we're going to work on this today too, to reframe your idea of success. You've done a lot of work on this. And some of it has been handed it to you. The work you've it's not that you weren't humbled before, but situations that you've been put in recently have humbled you. And they've narrowed your view in a really, really wonderful way. If you're narrowing your view where it just, it's my way or the highway, obviously that's not as open as you could be. But sometimes when we narrow everything down, we get to concentrate on what matters, what really is at stake. And that's what's happened for you. Again, this is general reading. If this part of the message resonates with you, wonderful. So you've really got to get to the crux of everything, what really matters to you, what you really want to do. And in that, you've redefined, to a certain extent, your idea of success. And you've redefined it gloriously. You understand that. You don't want this anymore. You don't want that. You don't want this. But there's still an aspect or an essence of you that's still working toward the big payoff. We're asking for you to say, yes, there is a big payoff. Yes, you will get what you want. Absolutely. But we're asking you to reframe that last part of this really vital learning experience for you that frees you up in such a dramatic way that you can just be yourself. You see, sometimes when you're working toward that big payoff, there's an aspect of you that's maybe felt like, there's certain things that you needed to hide, or there's certain things that needed to be compromised on so I can do this, or, and the day-to-day living, the small effect of just being in that moment and being yourself and doing your art instead of figuring out where it's going to go and what it's going to get me, and you don't have that, you're not calculated in that at all, but you have this practical, beautiful mind that everything you do wants to be of service to everyone. That's where it's coming from. Not that you want this or you want fame, or you redirected all of those thoughts. You genuinely want to be of service to the world. And of course, there's nothing wrong with everything that you do being successful in the way, because if it's successful, it's reaching as many people as it can, and it means that you're helping as many people as you possibly can. Isn't that why you're here? Absolutely. So we want to be really careful about how we are articulating this, so you don't so you totally understand that the way in which you've been going about this is completely understandable. And there is an essence of truth to it, universal truth. There is an essence of truth to it. And there's a great wonder in being known for what you do, because that means that people are connecting with your work and you're doing what you're supposed to do. There's something beautiful in that, right? But the magic of the everyday, the magic of actually doing the art in a bubble for sake's sake, and allowing that beauty of everything coming in, is what we want you to return to. And we want that light to come out in everything that you do. Basically, returning to that actual moment that we're living in, especially when you're creating your art, when you're creating what it is, or you're being of service, you're being you in that moment. So, to the extent that even when you're in the moment and you have that moment of just being you in your uniqueness and your autonomy, it's almost like a part of you. It may be a subconscious part of you. So as we say this, see if it resonates. There's almost like a part of you that's like, I feel so free. I feel like me now. I wonder how long it's going to last. Okay. Because there's a part of you that, you move from every situation. You're very flexible in that way. But at the same time, that moment of staying within yourself gets compromised when you think about the bigger picture, and you think about that success or wanting to do that, when that sort of active masculine part of you, which is gorgeous and pushed you through and at times kept you alive. So obviously you've needed it. But when that masculine element side goes, yeah, but we need to be the best, we need to do this, we need that success, we need something to show for it. That takes over, and it comes away, and it pulls you away from who you truly are. So, you've redirected your version of success and everything, and we want you to know that you will get what you want, and it's perfectly fine, not fine, it's perfectly understandable and wonderful that you want to be successful at what you do. I think everybody should have that attitude, insofar as every artist, people are always going on about artists work for free, or they do it, to bump up their portfolio. No, pay them. If they're talented and you're seeking them out, pay them. Everybody needs to be paid for what they do. And I think we're coming to an era where that is really changing, and like especially in 2020, everybody went to films, everybody went to books. We know that art is absolutely wonderful. Now, whether you're creative in the more traditional ways of a writer, painter, or an amalgam of all, or whether you bring in some kind of creativity working with children, children's books, illustration, or just bringing in the creativity, or teaching people how to be creative across different fields, or bringing in that element of creativity in everything that you do. Because you do that, you have that element of, moving on, and that flexibility and that beauty, and bringing in that real energy coming in. I'm not surprised you got the sun, and it's real masculine energy too. And you've had a lot of that strength, and learning how to work with that strength, where it sometimes overrides people and you don't mean it. You can be intimidating to a lot of people, and you've not really meant to, but you've also learned how to hone in on that energy, and not to dumb it down. No one's asking you to dumb it down. If people can't deal with your own energy, that's their own thing. And you've often integrated into certain aspects of your life where people were often overwhelmed by you, but you're not there anymore. You're definitely in and around pockets of people who are at your level, and to the point where people could have been intimidated by you and thought you were even showing off or this, something, because, it brought out, you've often shined that light, and it's come, and shine that light on other people's shadow aspects. And they've not really known what's going on, but they blamed you for it. But you've worked beyond that. We're just asking you to really integrate that masculine, feminine energy. And again, this is totally free, and always go with your intuition, always, 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 if it feels right. But just let out, if you want to start from the entire series of meditation where you work with you meet your unicorn guide, yay, everybody has one. And then you work with your Earth Star chakra, which is very important, and then your base chakra. The base chakra, I just uploaded that one today. You are working with your masculine and feminine specifically, and just releasing, but also coming into unison there, because your masculine side here has been wonderful. And as you have been working very actively with that, and you've been very conscious of pulling those back into alignment, there is that masculine sensibility that's still waiting for that payoff. So we're asking you to pull it back and go back into those small moments that you've been not forced into, but that's been what you've been going through for the last 10 months, really slowing things down. Yes, part of it was because what we're seeing in this world, but not everybody is taking the time to really slow down and see what's going on. Some people are riling up against it, and there's all sorts of different reactions, and totally understandable however way you want to react to it. But the better way for humanity, as we can say, is to slow it down and see what it means to you. slow down. What is important to you? What no longer works? What do we need to throw out? What do we need to upgrade? How can we tweak our perception of what we thought was really important to what it is? How have we been influenced by society to believe that this is correct and this is correct? And even if our soul didn't believe it, how has parts of our aspect of our personality bought into it just a little bit? How can we release that and set forward on a new path on our own terms completely, and set this new trail, this new blaze out into the world to be a light for others to be able to do this too? It's exactly where you are, and that's what you've been concentrating on. And it's not small work, it's narrowing everything to see the expansion. It's not small work at all. So we're asking you to take that integration of this small moment, this beauty, the breath, and integrate it into every aspect of self, including your version of success. And again, everything that you do, even if you consider it small, has this huge ripple effect, and you don't know what that is right now. But we're here to assure you that ripple effect is going in directions that are crazy brilliant and bright. So please don't try and get all your ducks in a row before you get out there. Go out and do those ripple effects every day and know that it's doing something, and have faith in it. You see, your masculine mind wants the payoff, but it wants to see the proof. That's where the divine feminine comes in. The intuition knows you're on the right path, knows it's going to be okay, knows it's going to end up exactly how it's supposed to, and it's not requiring proof. So take that with you, see if that resonates, and then we have your oracles. We've got Merlin. Now, I did wonder if Merlin was going to show up, because there is a Merlin card. Alchemy, justice, balance. That's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you stand for in this lifetime. And that's part of the reason why you really want to get that success and reach those people again beyond the ego, because you want people to have the justice. You want people to have the humanity. You want people to be around it, people to have the balance. You want people to have the support. Everything that you have in and around the reason for wanting to be the way that you want to be is in pure light. That's why it's going to be supported. That's why you never need to doubt it. You've got the alchemical effects here. Remember, the smallest thing in alchemy, in base, we start off with lead, we end up with gold. You've got to have that faith. Bring in that faith, and don't you dare hide behind closed doors as you're doing some of this stuff. A lot of what you're going through in these small moments, you could do a course and put it out there for other people. As you're learning, other people can learn from you. Have enough wisdom to be able to do that. We have gentleness and diplomacy for the deer here. And then we have that passion and fire. Absolutely, you have that passion and fire. That masculine energy, that passion and fire. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And that's the passion and the drive that wants to get you there. And some of that can be a little bit displaced if you don't see, again, that passion and that drive. If you don't see the results that you think that you A, deserve, or B, that you expect, then you start questioning other things. What's going on? Now you have to accept that the ripple effects are going off. And yes, you can't see exactly how they're coming back. You can't. We'll admit that. It takes a level of faith here. But the way in which these ripples are working are in much more of a fantastical motion than it would be if you saw everything coming into fruition the way that you imagined it. We want to remind you that being human is magical, coming back into your own element of magic. You got the Merlin card. You have so much magic within you. You think that you want that outcome, but if everything happened the way that you wanted, wouldn't it be boring as feck? Wouldn't it? There's a certain amount of it that, you do want, but allow the magic to come in too. And you've worked so hard on so many aspects of your life to allow in the magic and to rest up and swap out your control for alignment, to really work with the understanding of true guidance and surrendering without feeling as though you need to control everything. You're well aware of all of this. You've worked so hard on every aspect of your life. This is just the one last thing here. Those tiny ripple effects that you're doing are huge. Now, if you know that they're huge, and you don't underestimate them in your mind, you can work with the power and the magic behind the small ripple. And from that power and magic, you can make what you want happen. By undermining yourself, well, that's not coming out the way that I thought, or da 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 da, you're undermining your previous energy. By really honing in on the magic, you can actually write a book on like small magics. Starting small but expecting huge results. This is one of your lessons here. This is what you are here to learn. Now, when you grow up, again, this is very specific. So this is a general reading. This may not be for everybody, right? But for some of you growing up, you had so many dramatic people around you. When they did something, they hit you over the head with it, not physically necessarily. But you were around people who were like really loud, and you attracted the sort of larger than life, and going out and doing this, and very dramatic, right? So for some of you, you're in and around that energy, and you may have attracted that in friendships. Now, a lot of those friendships may have come in and taught you some stuff that are probably not in and around you anymore, because they're not in that energy anymore. But there's still an aspect of you that feels like, if go big or go home. If it isn't dramatic, then it isn't paying off. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the cord. You always have the permission. So if you don't want this, just say no. But if you have the permission for cutting the cord, for the belief that, bigger is better, especially when it goes on success, then if that's okay with you, we're gonna have Archangel Michael cut the cord, and then we're gonna send the power symbol there for you. And again, if you're not ready to do it, you want to do it on your own, you don't feel like that part of it pertains to you, just say no. You don't have to. But for those of you who have accepted, we'll cut that cord for you, and we'll send the power symbol again. Excuse me. And then in that mode, what we're doing is integrating this new energy of smaller is better. That ripple goes in and brings out a tide and a tsunami, and just redirects this old notion of how things used to work for you. Now, in the past, you may have had varied success with this. Go big or go home. People noticed you if you were big, and if you were around people who were really dramatic, you had to step it up to be seen. All of that was totally fine. Again, no judgment. That worked for you then. More power to you, 2 thumbs up. It's not working for you anymore. And for most of you, if you were around in and around that drama, a lot of those people have just sort of, you've either separated yourself from them, but most of them would just, maybe you're still friends, but they're off in a different direction. And that's fine. The universe just lets things go. They've just gone, it's over. You may not have said it. You may have the utmost respect for them, but you're not really in their lives anymore. That's them going, right? So you're not in and around this energy anymore, and that's because you've worked on that notion already. All we're doing in this reading, in this healing, this activation, in this session is bringing it home. That's it. We're giving you added support to bring it home. But you've done this work yourself. If this is resonating with you, you absolutely know this is where you're at. So we're just going to end with a couple of these Making Magic cards, which also have alchemist symbols in there too, which you're also welcome to use. This one popped out. What is it? Prosperity, a prosperous business with riches and success. What did we say? The small, it's owed to you. It's coming in. You got to trust it. It's just not coming in the way that you think. And that's a good thing. It's going to be amazing. But trust that everything that you're doing is happening. Yeah, some of it might be behind the scenes. But trust me, trust us. It's still happening. There's your card letting you know. And the other one that popped up, star. The silver energy of the star brings good luck and serendipity. You know that all of this is coming to you. It's a matter of time. It doesn't even feel like it's going to be a lot of time. Send out those ripples. Keep those ripples going. Keep your energy, your frequency high. Keep your knowledge that everything that you've ever wanted to be of service, the best and possible way for the most amount of people, is coming into fruition. It's absolutely coming. Don't you worry about it. All right. So that's what we have for you, Pile 3. I sincerely hope it resonated. If it did, feel free to give me a thumbs up and let me know if it resonated down below in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. And of course, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be part of our beautiful family here. And do not forget, as a present from me and Merlin to you, just before, it's actually for the winter solstice, but I am going to be releasing it at the weekend just before the winter solstice. We have Intuition and the Oracle, my 5-part video course, completely free. I urge you to take it if your intuition tells you to take it. It's all about balancing masculine and feminine energies. Even if you do oracle readings yourself, go you. There's still other information in there that you can apply to laws of attraction, all sorts of things. So check it out if you feel you want to. And never forget, we have the Unicorn School of Light down below with other courses and other ways for you to be supported and heal in this beautiful life that we have on earth together. So sending so much love and light to you until we meet again. Pile 3, stay safe and sane. Bye-bye.